When I started this business, I was on freelancer websites, taking the worst of the worst jobs, for no money, just to get some experience. Because once you've done it, you can then say that you're experienced in that, even if you've only done it once, right? Be memorable, be visible, network. That's where you'll find your next opportunity. It's not going to be on a job site. If you have any experiences to share, do that now. Show people what you're made of, and just be resilient, be determined.
Hey nerds, Monica here. Welcome to the Data Podcast for Nerds, where we talk to amazing professionals and ask them all about how they're using data to solve the world's problems. We're highlighting all the tips, tricks, and nerdy fun bits to make you the best data professional you can be. Today with us, we have Susan Walsh, the classification guru. How are you doing today, Susan?
I'm a nerd. Yeah, I'm good. Apart from being full of virus and germs, which is that typical. I don't know if it was like that in the US, but like there's some really vicious things going around right now. So, yeah, just battling that a little bit, but super excited to be here. And God, we haven't talked in ages. Remember when we met in
No,
Vegas?
I
Oh,
know.
wow, we did a lip sync.
We did. We did.
Yeah.
I can't believe that you haven't been on the show yet.
I thought I had, but maybe like very early days, but maybe not.
It might have.
Maybe I just
It
imagined
might
that
have.
because we talk. Yeah,
True. True. Well, I'm glad to have you here today.
it's great to catch up.
So, typically, we start off our episodes by understanding people's origin stories. We're all nerds here. So, please tell us about your background and how you got to where you are today in your career.
Well, that's going to be a fun story because it's going to be like squiggly lines. So I went to university and did a degree in commerce, which is a business degree. I graduated from that and became a paint merchandiser. Then from there, I was in telesales and sales, and then national accounts for FMCG companies. Then I realized I didn't even like sales anymore. It's not like, for me, sales is relationship building, and this was all transactional, so it wasn't for me. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I had an idea for a shop. And so about 14 years ago, almost to the day actually, it was like the anniversary was last week, I opened a women's clothes shop here in Guildford, which is just outside London. And it was beautiful, gorgeous clothes, and nobody came in and nobody bought anything. And I racked up a lot of debt and had to shut within about 7 months. Um, was so broke that I couldn't afford to go bankrupt because it cost £600 or £650 to file for bankruptcy. So I needed a job, and I needed a job fast. And I went online, just on like a Craigslist kind of website called Gumtree over here, and found an ad to go and work for a spend analytics company classifying spend data. And I'd never done it before, but I thought, well, I've worked in large companies, I know what they're spending their money on, so I should be fine. So what was supposed to be a stopgap ended up being 5 years, growing a team of 14 people, managing all the projects, classifying all the spend data, building taxonomies, normalizing suppliers, and we then got bought and became a part of a larger company, and I didn't like that so much. And because I hadn't come from the data side or the procurement side, I was kind of like, I don't even know what kind of job I'm doing. This is just like a thing, that happened. So I decided that probably the best thing for me to do would be to start the classification guru so that I could continue to do what I loved. And that was 8 years ago, nearly eight and a half now. That's just crazy.
Oh, congratulations. That's a really
Thank
long
you.
time. Yeah.
It actually really feels like it now. I feel like I'm aging from this business, but I think that is just what running a business does to you.
Yeah.
I'm out of the honeymoon startup phase, which is all excitement and like woo 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 and all the energy, and I'm older now. So yeah, I don't have the
Mhm.
energy anymore. I definitely feel it a bit more.
Yeah. What are some big things that you see changing in your business?
Um, Actually, and this might surprise you, the awareness of the importance of clean data and data quality. It's been a challenge. It's like when I started my business, everyone thought I was nuts. Like, you know, everyone knows how important it is, but nobody's really doing a standalone business for it. And with the introduction now of all the sexy new AI tools, clean data is more important than ever. And organizations have always been reluctant to invest in cleaning their data. They always think, oh, we'll buy a tool and it will fix it.
Mhm.
I think they're starting, some of them, to realize that you need that clean data at the bottom for everything else to work. And so I would say definitely there's more of an openness to outsourcing and getting your data cleaned and into a place that is good enough. There were certainly a lot of, when I first started, there was no such thing as a procurement analyst. Everything
Mm.
that was dashboard related was all outsourced. And now suddenly that's become in house. But that missing piece of the skill bit is the cleaning bit. That's the bit nobody wants to do, right? But it's probably
Yeah.
the most important part. And I'm seeing a little bit more of a shift towards actually we're okay to spend some money on this and get it right.
Mhm.
Didn't expect.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you're seeing that shift.
Yeah.
People are actually putting it important and
Yeah,
yeah.
and also my most of my businesses always come from the procurement side because they're not data people, so they need that help. Whereas the data side love what I talk about and champion data quality, but they're like, we got this, we can do it ourselves, don't worry about it. Whereas actually this year I have actually been working with a few data like clients rather than procurement specifically, and so that's an
Oh.
interesting shift as well. And I think that's a lot to do with like the state of things right now. We're seeing layoffs left, right, and center, cutbacks, and people just don't have the teams to be able to do it anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
So yeah,
As you mentioned, everyone dreads cleaning data, but you absolutely love it. So I was curious about like what's your specifically like your favorite part about cleaning data?
I think it's the taking something that's really messy and then making it organized and like very streamlined and tidy and orderly. That's really satisfying.
Mhm.
Um, and secondary to that would be the value and insights that it brings to the people that I do that for as well.
Yeah.
When they come to you and they think they've got the worst data that you've ever seen, and you're like, actually, it's okay, it's not too bad. Um, apart from I did do some pretty horrific projects this year where I thought I had seen it all, and I had not. I've learned that there's
Oh.
there's worse out there. So and that really gives me hope because that the quality of the data was so bad that there's no way that tech could fix it. It was so bad.
Oh
And it was
man. Well,
frustrating, but it was also really rewarding,
yeah. At least the job never gets boring.
right? No 2 days are ever the same. No two data sets are ever the same.
That's exciting.
Yeah, but it
Uh
makes it hard to build any kind of automation because nothing's ever the same, right? Like,
yep.
this messy data is not the same as this messy data.
Mhm. Yeah, so at a high level, or you can get into as much detail as you want, what is your approach to going about cleaning this really bad data?
So I'm a visual cleaner. So it's not about writing code and rules and then seeing what happens. It's about actually inspecting the data, looking at it. I have a tool that I use called Omniscope. So I use that to interrogate the data in different ways. And what I'm looking for is any kind of patterns of things that are wrong. So missing information, information in the wrong columns. You can guarantee the phone numbers are a complete mess, so they're going to need to be reformatted. Looking at like if it's company names, they'll need normalized and suffixes and punctuation removed. Sometimes you see the whole address squeezed into one cell, and you know abbreviated streets, non-abbreviated streets, that there are typos. I mean, there's like the same kind of stuff, but the degree of how bad it is varies massively.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking there, I did a data diagnostic for a client and they sent over their HubSpot data. And over the years, they just kept adding and adding and adding, new systems, blah, blah, blah. They had 500 columns. We're not talking rows here, columns. And well, it was over 500. And about 200 of them didn't even have any data in them at all. So they could just get chopped out.
Oh no.
Um, and yeah, I think by looking at it the way I do, sometimes I can see things in a different way that you can't see if you're just applying rules. And I know that because I built a tool called samification, and it's a normalization tool. So you drop your file in, it removes all the inks, the limiteds, the PLCs, and tidies it all up. But what we realized was that by adding certain rules in, it was creating more problems than it was solving. So you can't, like something US or USA, you can't just take that off because then it comes out the middle of a word or the start of another word. And UK is the same, and it's so messy. It really is. Even things like you think you could take the apostrophe s away. Well, if you take just the apostrophe away, it messes up the Irish names like O'Reilly. So you have to be really
Oh.
careful and specific about what you remove and what you keep. And even, we take out the dashes, but actually sometimes a business name is like K-9 and then it takes it out, and the perfectionist in me is like, it's got to be right. But at some point, you have to just be like, okay, we just have to let some of this go. Like, the client is really not going to be that fussed if there's a dash or not. Like, they
Hmm.
already have messy data, they're not bothered.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's learning to manage my own expectations as well.
absolutely. So when you're talking with the clients and you're, sharing the information that you found about their data, are they shocked? Are they, they know that they have bad data, or how do they respond to that information?
They kind of know. Normally, we'll maybe do like a little sample or proof of concept before we start the project. So I'll interrogate it and say, look, here's some of your problems. But yeah, sometimes it's it can be things in the audit world. It's things like you have multiple suppliers of the same name and they've got multiple different payment terms. So each supplier should only have like one payment term. You probably even have a contract with them that says you're going to pay them in 30 days, but then this one says 60 days and this one says 5 days. So things like that might not be as obvious. I found things like one phone number associated with 50 different accounts because obviously the employee had just put their own phone number in, like as a contact.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, it's there's so much. I love it. It's fascinating to see kind of you can read and interpret things from the data. Something else that always kind of makes me smile is there was one file I worked on where they'd obviously taken the information over the phone. So they had typed it and spelled it phonetically rather than how it's actually spelled.
Oh,
Yeah. So, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of something in the US, but, in the UK, there's lots of names that don't look anything like how you say them.
okay.
So, Southwark, for example, in London is spelled Southwark,
Okay.
but it's Southwark. So you could actually you could see where it had been. People had you could literally tell where people had taken stuff over the phone and where they had like copied it from something.
Hmm. And how is AI kind of interrupting your business or maybe helping your business?
It's helping and hindering, um, equally, I would say. Um, I have tried to use it to help me clean up addresses, especially where you've got the whole address in one cell and there's no commas to separate each line. It's just like a whole load of words. And it did like a maybe a 50% okay kind of split, but then, there was still a lot of work to manually get it all where it needed to go. But for UK postcodes, it's like a couple of digits, a space, and then some more digits and letters. These postcodes had no space in the middle, so I asked it to separate that out, and it did that fantastically. So that was great. Um, I asked it to verify like first line addresses of nursery schools, like so public information, something that you could find easily on Google. And it completely, of the 15 that I put in, and I already knew the first line addresses, it hallucinated 10 of them. Like it was really bad. It just was not there. We have been experimenting with GPT with samification. We've got like a master list of like 560,000 names that have been normalized by myself and the team. If it doesn't match that, it then goes through all these rules and a GPT model. But we've noticed things like there might be Walsh cleaners, Walsh lawyers, and Walsh hairdressers, and it's decided that it's the Walsh group. We haven't
Mm,
told it that because it's looking for patterns, right? So still have to be really super careful. And even I had asked it, I needed to extract some data from a picture of a table. So I said to GPT, please can you put this into a table for me exactly as it is in this image? And the reason that I said that was because there was like a person twice with two different addresses, even though it was the same person. So GPT then gaslights me and says, here's your table exactly as it says in the image. And I looked at it and I said to it, no, it's not. This should have two addresses and this one should have two. Oh, Susan, you're right. Oh, let me correct that now
Oh,
for you. Like it was adamant, it was exact. So you have to be really, you still have to know and understand your data. You just have to be smart with it.
yeah. So overall, is this helping? Because it seems like you have to go in to the outputs and start your cleaning all over again.
Well, I mean, I've always been of the opinion that it's better to start from scratch, do it manually, and
Hmm.
you'll get to the same at the same pace as the technology because you have to then check and correct it. Um, there are areas where I mean it might be helping a little bit. Um, I think it also really very much depends on the kind of data that you're working with and the type of work you're doing. So where I've seen some really good success in the procurement space is for things like contract comparison and scanning, and you know, here's our contract, here's our client's contract, and where is there any conflict and things like that. It's very good at that kind of stuff. But
Okay.
again, you still need that common sense and don't just blindly trust it.
Absolutely. I'm also team human in the loop.
Yes. But we're not in the loop. We are the start and the end of it. Like,
True.
yeah, I think human in the loop kind of feels to me like it diminishes the value of what the human actually brings, and
Hmm.
we're always going to be the key, like founding piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
I can't see a time when we're going to be completely eradicated. And the other thing is, data problems are people problems, right? As long as there are people out there inputting data the wrong way, we're always going to be needed.
Yes, I agree.
So yeah, and certainly our involvement might minimalize and get less as the years go on, but it will never be completely gone. And actually, I think I say to, I'm going to do a lecture at uni next week. I tell students, like, if you want job security, learn how to clean data, because that is the one thing that people are not focusing on. There's hundreds of people out there who are technically amazing, but can they
Mhm.
clean really understand a data set and clean it properly? Not that many.
Yeah. Yeah, that brings in the topic of the data people having to be really that domain expert.
And sometimes, you need someone to just sense check it too. We're not
Mhm.
always the expert in everything, but I could certainly say after about 13, 14 years of doing this that you recognize patterns and see things that come up quite regularly. And I don't even think that it's stuff that you can necessarily prevent, because a lot of the work I do is subjective and contextual, and quite often there's more than one right answer, and it's just about being consistent, having everything the same rather than half of it this and half of it that.
Yeah.
But time will tell. I
Yes.
mean, if it could do all my work for me, pay me, and let me sit on a beach all day drinking cocktails, then I am all for that. But
Yes.
unfortunately, not quite there yet.
So I think at this time, I want to transition into our fun bits section. So you say that you are the classification guru, but I think you are also a marketing guru.
I guess by accident.
By accident. I
Yeah,
know the best things. I think the best things come by accident.
that is true.
I love all of the characters and all of the advertisements that you put together to advertise or market your business. I mean, look at Susan behind you. Does she have a specific name?
That's 3D Susan, and then
3D
we do
Susan.
have like keyring Susan as well. That's little
Yes.
Susan. And
I love it so much.
amazingly, there's no more. She's all gone. All 500 of her are out in the world now.
Oh, goodness.
That's crazy, right? That is literally
That's
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I saw people were taking pictures of her out in the wild, and that
Oh,
was really fun.
she's having the best life all over the place. Absolutely.
It just reminds me that I have a picture of her in my cactus. I have a cactus in my backyard, and I need
Amazing.
to send that to you.
Yes.
So you come up with the funnest characters and even acronyms. And so we'll start off with a throwback to your COAT acronym. I want
Yeah.
to, can you share more about that?
Yeah. So this literally started because I was going on a podcast and someone said, "Do you have an acronym?" And I was like, "No." It's like, people love an acronym. Come with an acronym. So I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, okay, what do I need from data when I'm working with it? And consistency was the first thing that came to mind. So the C was the first thing. And that is literally about having, the same date formats, the same units of measure, the same language or terminology, that everybody's using the same. Then I'm not sure where the other letters, the order that they came in, but it's organized. So categorizing your data so that you can easily find what you need to report on. A is for accurate, but define what that is within the area that you work in. And then, of course, once it's consistent, organized, and accurate, it becomes trustworthy. And so that is the quote framework. And really, I mean, it started as a bit of fun, but I think it's a good way to get non-data and data people to kind of think about data governance and data quality and the importance of it in a fun way. Because, if we just talk at people and tell them what they need to do, they're not going to listen. But, thinking about a data quote, that's a bit more fun.
Yes, I agree.
And actually, so I have started saying you have to wear your coat all year round as well. It's not good enough to just put it on, you need to keep it on. So maintenance is like a huge part of that too. Because so
Mhm.
many people think, well, we've cleaned our data, we don't need to worry about it now. And then you're back. in the same situation 12 months later. So,
That's true.
yeah. But yeah, maybe we should have a range of coats.
Yes. We'll do different types of coats. Uh you have like a raincoat or a pea coat
You know,
or a
years ago, I did do like a kind of good, better, best. So, like your raincoat, then your mid range, and then your high end fur coat kind of thing.
Ooh,
And
okay.
it represented the different data cleaning services, you know.
Mhm. Yes. I'm a fan of a hoodie. Do you have any examples of
Yeah.
hoodies? Just really
I think
comfortable.
we could make it in a hoodie.
Yeah.
That's two
It has
O's
to
though.
have the pocket in the front though, because that makes it versatile.
I need a full zip up. Like I don't like pullover hoodies. I need a zip.
Oh, I don't like the zips for some reason. I
Oh
like the
no,
pullover.
yeah, I like the zips. Everyone's different. I'm actually, and I love like the fleecy lined ones.
Yes. Other marketing materials that I've seen that are really fun from you is your Hulk reference. She gets
Yes.
angry of the dirty data. How did you come
Yeah.
up with that?
Um, that was my friend's little boy who is now not little anymore. So he was like, "You should be the Hulk." And so I mean, I had this video made like I don't know, maybe 6 years ago now, but it's like it has paid for itself over and over again. You know, I pull out maybe once or twice a year, and a copywriter did the script. We sent it over to the video people, and then they just came up with an amazing kind of video, like just amazing. And that is one thing I would say that if I could, I would always choose like professionals over AI to create my content, you know, because it's all about prompts with AI, right? And you don't know what you don't know. Whereas, you know, the professionals know stuff that you don't know, never even thought
Yes.
about. And actually, that's even the same when people say, well, why should we outsource our data cleaning when we can do it in house? And I'm always say, well, you have a single view of data. You only look at your data. You don't know what anyone else's data looks like. We've looked at all the different types of data across all the industries. We know to look for things that aren't even on your radar, you know, and so that's why, you know, I try to, you know, use small businesses and things like that
Yes.
um, when I can, really.
Yeah, that's the way to go. I agree. You also have books. Your Between the Spreadsheets books. The advertisement for your second one particularly made me laugh.
This is like the grown up version now. Like the first one was like I guess teenager Susan, and now it's like a bit more grown up. And there's now a whole AI chapter in there. We've got some case studies. Um, so it's, you know, a lot of the stuff that I talk about in the AI chapter did not even exist when I wrote the first book in 2021. So
Mm.
and even when I wrote this chapter in January, agentic AI wasn't really a thing. So that's not even in the book. Like it's
Oh,
changing
true.
so fast. But we also have now matching bookmarks with the quote on the back.
Fun.
Yeah. So I've been giving those out left, right, and center.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I was like, oh no, not another book. But I said never again after the first one. But I mean, it was only a couple of chapters.
Hmm.
Um, but foolishly did agree to another book with a different publisher, which will be coming out next year, and that's called Optimizing Sales and Marketing Data. And that is literally how to clean, categorize CRM, marketing, sales data, why you need to do it, what happens when you don't. Got some case studies in there, you know, quotes in there too. Quote will always be in all the books, but that's it. I'm like, that's it. No more books now. No more books. People have got me on film. There's so many films of me saying no more books. That's it.
I know. I'm circling back in a year and you'll be working on another book.
Well, you know, unless someone wanted to pay me like 100 grand and I didn't have to do any other work and just had to write a book, honestly, even then it would be a push. But, you know,
Mhm.
I think I could probably manage that. But otherwise, yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah.
I think I've extracted as much information from my brain as I can possibly muster right now.
Yeah. I'm sure you can come up with new stuff with the quick pace that AI is evolving, I'm sure.
I wish I had time to keep up with it, to be honest. It's
No.
like still trying to nail the basics for a lot of clients here. I think that's another myth that, all these people are, you know, everyone's using AI now. Like I
Hmm.
just posted about this the other day. Like, is it 95% of projects are not delivering value? Like, so much time and energy is being thrown at this, and we're not nailing the basics yet. You have to get your clean master data at the bottom and your processes and know who's doing what, and you have to have like some clear objectives and outcomes. Don't just start building stuff to see what happens,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
which is, I think, a lot of what's happening. Yeah, oh, just let's see what it can do. Well, if you don't know what you need, then it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah. So you have a chapter in your new book talking about myths. Can you give us a sneak peek into one or two of those myths?
um yeah, so it's that whole it can do everything, right?
Hmm.
There are instances where it's really good and there are instances where it's really bad. So I have examples of where I've tried to use it to help me find out information and it's just completely hallucinated addresses and things like that. Then on the flip side of that, image recognition, something that, I was in a cemetery and there was this tree and I was like, that tree looks a bit odd. And as I got closer, I realized that it was a cell tower and there was like the cell mast bit at the top, but it was disguised as a tree. And I was like, I'm going to put that in. There's no way I'll ever guess what that is. Knew exactly what it was. But, uh, yeah, tried to gaslight me with other, like, extracting image from a table, which you would think would be the really easy thing to do, right?
Hmm.
So, but I guess it's what it's been trained on, who's been working with it, all those kinds of things. So, yeah, just being really honest about where it works and where it doesn't, and actually, just being cautious and using it wisely, not blindly. So yes, it's that's always everyone's favorite chapter. Everyone loves a good like, let's see what else happened to someone else, so we can learn from it.
Absolutely. When you share about the image recognition, it reminds me of some posts I've seen from you with the puppies, but they also look like blueberry muffins.
Yes, muffin or chihuahua. There's dog or bagel. I've got parrot or guacamole. There's dog or fried chicken. There's loads of them. It's really funny. And again, it's all like who has entered that information and what has it been trained on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, talking about training, a question that I ask all my guests is around learning. And
Yeah.
so, question to you is how do you like to learn new things? Like, what are your go to resources when you're trying to learn something new?
Oh, I love that. So I am very much a learn by doing person. So I'll just like get right in there. I might watch a video, just a quick how to, but I'm like, just go and break it, see what happens. So I
Mhm.
learn by kind of failing. That's my
Yes. That's
best
my
way.
favorite way.
Yeah. Um, I know how I've written two books, two and a half now, technically. I don't read books. I do not retain information. I find it really hard to absorb that knowledge that way. Um, I guess I would say I'm probably a lazy learner. Like, I'll learn it if I have to, but I don't really take the time to go out and learn new stuff. But I would say, like, just running a business, I am learning stuff in every aspect of life, like every single day. There's always something new that you have to figure out, some new challenge that you have to solve. Um, and sometimes there is no guidebook. Sometimes you literally just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
I am a question asker. Like, if I need to be able to ask questions to someone if I get stuck. I remember doing a one-sided online learning. I tried to a little bit to learn Python, And I just got to one point and was completely stuck. And I had nobody to ask. And so I just gave up. So
Mm.
I'm a bit like, yeah, okay. I don't really need to know it, so it's fine. But I understand the principles a lot. Like I think I understand probably more than I could, write code or write. But
Mhm.
that's where things like GPT probably would come in quite handy for me now, because I would have enough experience and knowledge to kind of be able to read it and think, does that look right or not? Is that
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, that
I
makes
think
sense.
maybe one day when I have time, when I'm on that beach with my cocktails, we'll be able to figure all
Yes.
that out.
Yes. That'll be the perfect time. So, for the folks out there that are looking to transition into the data space, do you have any recommendations or words of encouragement for them?
Yeah, it's just get as much experience as you can. Like, go and do the crappiest jobs, even if it's for free, and just learn, get the knowledge. Um, work in a shop or whatever it is, while you're trying to learn your craft. When I started this business, I was on freelancer websites taking the worst of the worst jobs, for no money, just to get some experience, because once you've done it, you can then say that you're experienced in that, even if you've only done it once, right? So um just and I think really now you have to be so resilient, because things are tough right now. It's harder to get jobs. Be memorable, be visible, network. That's where you'll find your next opportunity. It's not going to be on a job site. If you have any experiences to share, do that now. Show people what you're made of, and just be resilient. Ride it out. Be determined.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Susan, for coming on the show with
Oh,
us
thanks for having me
today.
on.
It was a pleasure. If anybody wants to contact you, where can they find and or follow you?
I mean, LinkedIn is the best place. Susan Walsh, classification guru. There's the classificationguru.com website and samification.com. But yeah, you'll find me mostly on LinkedIn.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Susan.
Thank
And
you.
as always, folks, happy learning. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Data Podcast for Nerds. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you want to transition your career and become a data professional, follow me on LinkedIn for even more tips, tricks, and nerdy fun bits.